First problem at the lower level, elementary level, is that the standard algorithms of arithmetic, basic arithmetic operations, are taught too late. They're taught, but they're taught too late. What this means is that by middle school, grade 6, 7, and 8, our students are getting weak math standards and according to Professor Milgram, are about 1 to 2 years behind their peers in other countries. Remember, these are the standards you're being told are rigorous. Rigorous, rigorous, rigorous. That's the word that keeps coming out all the time, every time you see an article in the press or from anyone on high. By grade 8, they're 2 years behind. Middle school math standards are weak. Third major flaw, they don't allow students to complete Algebra 1 by the end of grade 8. In most high-achieving countries, students can complete Algebra 1 by the end of grade 8, so that they then have 4 years of high school for advanced math and science work. The math standards for Common Core end at about a week Algebra 2, and you have to have some sense of what that means for college readiness. We're not talking about a high school diploma. This has been an area of confusion for most people in this country because they think Common Core is about high school diploma requirements. It isn't. It's about college readiness, getting into post-secondary freshman coursework for credit. That is the devil's pact. If you pass a college readiness test in grade 11, you can get into a freshman college course for credit in math. I have heard educators in various states, including Colorado, say, oh, but Common Core is a floor. It's not a ceiling. We can add. Well, first of all, I have yet to hear of any school system that has added these standards, so I'm waiting to hear which school system has. Secondly, the contract for Race to the Top says that you cannot add more than 15% above Common Core. So you can't add the standards you need. It's more than 15% because you've got to start with grade 5 and work up. You've got to accelerate the math sequence from grade 5 in order to complete Algebra 1 by grade 8 and then get in all of the preparatory STEM standards by grade 12. So you have the problem of not being able to put in the extra standards, and then the question would be, why would teachers put in standards that they won't even be evaluated by because the evaluation framework is going to be solely on what is on Common Core. So there's no incentive for a teacher to put in other than what Common Core already has, because the evaluation can only be on what is in Common Core, and it will test only what is already in the standards. First issue I've always raised is that what are set forth as ELA standards are not standards, they're skills. What is a skill? A skill is something that has no content to it, basically. It doesn't tell you level of difficulty. It can be applied to any level of reading material from the Three Little Pigs to Moby Dick. What is a skill? Let me give you an example of one just so you know what I'm talking about, coming right from the document. This is one of the anchor standards. It's one I like to use because it also shows the kind of sentence that my own high school English teacher would never have allowed. But this is the sentence. It's a grade 11, 12 standard. I can't help but be sarcastic about it because the one kind of a document that should be written in good English prose is a set of English standards. I mean, why should a set of English standards be written in good English? It's bad enough if the math standards are not written in clear English, but at least a set of English standards should be written in clear English. So here is this standard. Analyze a complex set of ideas or sequence of events and explain how specific individuals' ideas or events interact and develop over the course of the text. What? We hear very often that Common Core standards are fewer, clearer, and deeper. They are not. They may appear to be fewer because they've been bundled together, but that's because 5 to 10 different activities have had semicolons put between them, and they're written as one sentence, and it's called one standard. Here's an example of one that I call a bundled standard. It's not just one process or activity. It's a literature standard for 9 and 10 that asks students to determine a theme or central idea of a text, analyze in detail its development over the course of the text, including how it emerges and is shaped and refined by specific details, and provide an objective summary of the text. That's at least 3 different things. But you can call it one standard if you put it all together. First of all, Common Core standards are not rigorous. That is why you're hearing all the time how rigorous they are. People wouldn't be saying it over and over again if it was obvious that they were rigorous. Secondly, they're not internationally benchmarked. I've been asking about this, and Professor Milgram did. What are the countries we are benchmarked with? And I've even asked the ExxonMobil education director, because they had ads during the national tennis matches last summer about the international benchmarking of Common Core standards. So I asked afterwards, what countries are we benchmarked with? It took her about a week to get back because she had to check with Common Core. 15 countries. We consulted with them, we reviewed their documents, we were informed by their documents, which meant we got a hold of them and we stuck them in the bottom drawer. We may have read them, but we're not necessarily internationally benchmarked with them, because I know the words that have to appear to say we are benchmarked. So we're not benchmarked with any other country. We've actually gone down about 2 grades worth. That's what we estimate in math and probably in reading, but we won't really know until the test comes out, because you have to look at the passages and see where the cut score is. There's no research to support a stress on writing instead of reading. There's no research to support a stress on informational reading instead of literary study. And here is the last little gem that I want to tell you about, which is the supposed value of cold reading of historical documents. I have heard teachers try to get up in testimony at hearings to say how wonderful they think this practice is, but I know that they've been prepped to do that. They've got teacher evaluations to worry about. What does cold reading of historical documents mean? David Coleman has a workshop that's available on videotape using the Gettysburg Address. And cold reading means the kids go right to it, devoid of context. They can't know that it was who wrote the speech, when the speech was written, why the speech was given, what time during the Civil War it was given, because that would privilege students who know more than others about the background. And the purpose is to level the playing field. In other words, equal ignorance is the way we want to go.